It's a beautiful morning here in South Carolina, and walking out to the shop. Just got back from doing a little deer hunting, and yeah, we got a shovelhead to work on today. This is a 78 FXE. I believe this is actually a 78 and a half, because it has the dual disc front end with the little small calipers on it. And the whatever it is, I think it's like 10 fin cylinders. It's a 74 cubic inch engine. Hang on just one second, let me turn the camera around. Before we turn the lights on, I put a little mood lighting in the shop. Obviously we get the ambient light from that eastern window coming in, which is really nice. I've talked about this before on the channel, but at night that little you know, warm tone bulb hanging there over the workbench is pretty cool. Anyways, I'm Squirrel Brandon. Let's flip the lights on. The bike's right there. It's on the work stand on the lift. We've done a little bit of work to this. You can see it over there on my shoulder. We've done some work to this bike on a previous episode. You can watch that if you want. It's pretty short. It's only like, I think it's less than 10 minutes long. I'll do a quick, you know, up to date on where we're at, and I'll set the camera on the tripod while I work. We're gonna get working on this bike. By the end of this, we will have a running, riding, shifting, stopping motorcycle, and this bike will be for sale. So if you are interested in it, info@buttcrackcycles.com. Shoot me an email. This is not my motorcycle. I've been contracted to fix this bike for a customer who's also a buddy of mine. I can get you in touch with him, and we can get all that going if it's something you're interested in by the end of the episode. So let's get working. Let's fix a shovelhead. So if you missed the last episode or have just kind of forgotten where we started on this bike, it's a 78, pretty sure 78 and a half FXE. A buddy of mine picked this thing up really cheaply. Has a clean title. It's all there. He brought it to me, and I kind of just looked it over, made sure there wasn't any egregious wiring on it, looked down in the tanks, etc. Everything seemed okay. There's some wiring needs cleaned up. The tanks needed a little bit of cleaning. You know, nothing crazy on it. Had good compression, 120, 110, and we even got this thing to run out of a little bit of a ether can with a fuel jug, but it wouldn't run on its own. So I got started on it with the carburetor, couldn't seem to get the backing plate off, ended up having to take vice grips to those later. For the time being, I just pulled the carburetor with the air cleaner backing plate as one whole assembly, and took care of it later on the workbench. It's a Super B. I'm kind of growing to like the Super Bs. They're really simple. No accelerator pump though, which isn't great for a kick-only bike. Anyways, this thing was absolutely disgusting. The bowl was basically varnished shut. I mean, it was like glued on there with fuel varnish. It was awful. The inside of this carburetor was one of the worst I've ever seen. So no wonder it wouldn't even try to run on its own, and basically would only run out of the ether can. Look down inside of that bowl. I mean, it's just hardened, almost tar. This is some really gross, nasty stuff. So I stripped the carburetor completely down so we could get rid of all this ookie-gookie gunk, and chunked the bowl, the body, the jets, everything into the dunk tank. Everything that's in this picture got chucked into the dunk tank overnight. So after one good long soak, drained it off and threw it into the waiting, warming up ultrasonic parts cleaner, and cooked it in there for, I don't know, 3 or 4 cycles, I would say. You can see how it came out here in this shot, and here's some of the other pieces coming out of the ultrasonic cleaner as well. This got it pretty clean. I still wasn't happy with it, so I ended up doing some more cleaning with some brake clean, and then one more dunk through the dunk tank, and then one more through the ultrasonic cleaner. This carburetor took a ton of work to get to the point that you see it in these shots now, which is a day or so later, clean enough to where I finally felt comfortable putting a rebuild kit in it. Of course, this is an actual legit S&S rebuild kit. I pretty much will not buy anything else. So, one fully rebuilt Super B carburetor, all new fittings, etc. On to getting this thing to stop, now that I'm pretty confident that we'll get this thing to run. These brake lines were disgusting, calipers were stuck on there pretty good, everything was rusted, crusted, leaky, nasty, just no fun. Pulled the front calipers off of both sides, pulled the lines off. One of the lines broke off in the caliper. There's no real big surprise here. And then the fender reflector decided it wanted to leave the chat. Not fender, you know what I mean. Fork reflector. Took the master cylinders loose too, so you could rebuild those. You can't just rebuild calipers. Not good enough, I don't think. Especially when the master cylinders looked as poor as they did. So, removed the handlebar controls. Took a little quick look at what wiring still existed inside the handlebar controls, which, spoiler alert, isn't much. Brake light switch isn't hooked up, and basically all that's there is for the run switch and the starter. This master cylinder was absolutely disgusting. This bike had been sitting for a really, really, really long time. Calipers in very similar shape. Tried to blow the pistons out of the calipers with compressed air. Even with 150 psi, it would not budge them. So I did a trick I've done before on this channel, which is screw a grease fitting into the caliper, either through the bleeder screw or where the brake line goes in, and pump grease in. And finally that will push a stuck piston out. Then it was time to pull the rear banana caliper off, so I could rebuild that as well. This one didn't seem like it was too bad from the outside looking in, and upon disassembling it, it wasn't awful, but still worth doing. So here's everything bagged, tagged, waiting on parts to show up in the mail, and in the meantime it'll all get cleaned and honed and whatever else needed to get done to it. In the meantime, I wanted to see if I could get the lights working. I took the dash apart and found a loose wire, which I was able to just reconnect and then have headlights as well as high beams, low beams, and tail lights. The wiring on this bike is still not really the prettiest. It would be something I would look at if I owned it. Risers, this handlebar riser situation was absolutely terrible. Threw a towel over the tanks just so nothing got scratched. Even though this is a patina paint job, still try and take care of stuff and let it leave in better condition than when it showed up to me. So took the headlight eyebrow off, dug the riser bushings out of the triple trees, and then went hunting through the old parts cabinet. Found a set of colony ones that I had laying around. These are the nice white urethane, like upgraded ones. They're nice and stiff. So installed those into the risers, and hey, look at this. I can shake the entire bike around now without the risers or the bars moving. Other little things that needed attention: intake manifold O-rings on this bike were shot, all cracked and brittle and swollen and falling apart, so that got replaced. I also cleaned the tanks out. You can see everything that came out of them here. Junk and this little guy, moth or wasp or something, I think it's a moth, as well as my personal favorite, a pebble. Wondering what that's doing in there. Did a quick tune-up on the bike, threw some spark plugs in it, changed the oil filter, changed the transmission oil. You know, just the usual stuff you do to a bike that's been sitting for an unknown amount of time. Then picked it back up on the work stand in order to put the brakes back on. Took a few minutes to pet Hank, the shop dog, who is indeed the goodest boy to ever be. Old Bo Cephas, the happy little tail going. He's my buddy. Anyways, parts showed up to do the brake rebuilds, so got everything clean. You can see it's all clean there in these videos. Got our rebuild kits and started putting it all together. This stuff got rebuilt master cylinders, rebuilt calipers front and rear, as well as new brake pads front and rear. So everything you could possibly ask for.
Put all of it together while just kind of hanging out in the shop. My buddy Paul, who owns this bike, came over and just hung out with me for, an hour or so while I worked on this. Always kind of fun to have someone in the shop, especially since I often work alone. But you can see the rebuild kits going into everything here, and then pulled all of the old rusty, crusty, nasty brake lines off and replaced the majority of those. So put the calipers back on, replaced those lines, got some nice Russell braided stainless steel brake lines. These are nice. This is actually similar to what's on my Shovelhead. With the intake manifold resealed, I did something I always do, which is make sure that the intake and the cylinder head and the carb support bracket are all running in the same plane, and angle finder is great for that. So satisfied with that, then it was time to reinstall our freshly rebuilt Super B carburetor. Make sure the throttle cable opens it up just fine, which it does, and it returns well. And throw a battery in this thing. The customer brought me this battery. It's super duper lightweight. However, the terminals are on the wrong side. You can see I'm holding the old battery up to it, which meant that while I could get the cables to hook up, I couldn't put the battery box cover or strap on, which was kind of a problem. But I went ahead and hooked the cables up anyways and attached a fuel jug to the carburetor because I want to hear this thing run more than just off speaker. Alright, we got a running bike. Paul took the battery back. I thought he was going to exchange it. He ended up taking the top off and somehow swapping the polarity inside of this. I don't know. This is really ugly. I did not do this. It does work though, and allowed me to hook the battery cable up correctly and put the battery box back on. Again, this is not something I did and not how I would have done it, but it's what I got, so it's what I'm working with. So I threw the seat back on this thing. I always liked these, the factory FX seats. Thought they were nice looking. And filled the tanks up with fuel. This bike also got a new petcock installed and new fuel line along with all this. Then it was time to listen to it run out of its own fuel supply. So being pretty satisfied that everything seemed kosher there, went ahead and put the air cleaner back on and hooked the carburetor support bracket up and put the air cleaner cover on this thing. And we were ready to go for a test ride. Somewhere in all of this too, I did some carburetor tuning on it. I take that back. We're not ready to go for a test ride. I need to bleed the brakes. Duh, Paul. What are you talking about? Couldn't get the brakes to bleed. Trying to back bleed them. Turns out the bleeder screws were seized, so I replaced those. Then we were able to bleed the brakes, both front and rear. And now it's time for a test ride.
right, so that wraps us up today. Paul, who owns the bike, he came and rode it around the block a couple times, and he's happy with it. We shot some pictures and videos for his for sale ads, which y'all will see some of that here on this channel too as like a short. And then I helped him push it up into his van, and he headed back home with it. So he's happy, I'm happy, and I think this will make somebody happy when they buy it. Like I said, this bike is for sale. It's located outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. He's asking $6,500 for it. I think it's a fair price on a fair bike. It runs, rides, shifts, and stops. It's still a bit of a project. Obviously, it has a patina to it, which I think is pretty cool. But it's a bike that, we talk about this a lot on this channel. A $5,000 Shovelhead is probably going to need $5,000 more in work to get to a point where it's really good and really reliable. So at $6,500, you've got a bike that still needs some work and some tidying up and some attention, and TLC definitely needs some tires. A few little, wiring things could be tidied up and made a little bit nicer and neater and such. But it's a bike where a lot of the problems that it came to me with have already been taken care of. And you'll be a lot further ahead on a project. It's a lot easier to not stall out on a project when you start with something that you can already take around the block, right? You have the motivation for it because you're excited about the thing, because you were able to jump on it and crank it up and go run it around 3 or 4 miles before you take it home on your trailer, versus coming home with a bike that you don't know if it runs, you don't know if it's worth fixing, and has a pile of parts that come with it. So as you've seen in this video, we've knocked out a lot of the issues that this bike had. It'll be a good project for somebody else. If you're interested in it, email me, info@buttcrackcycles.com. As always, thanks for watching the channel. Thanks for everybody who supports this business. Paul, thanks for bringing me bikes to work on. Y'all will see some more bikes from him soon. You've already seen a few of his on this channel, whether you realize it or not. That wraps us up. I've got another Shovelhead right behind me I'm almost done with, and then another one right behind me right there. I don't know if you can see it, it's green, that showed up today, and another one coming in 2 days. Today's Wednesday, coming Friday. So y'all don't care what day it is. You won't watch this today. I don't know why I mentioned it. Anyways, see y'all later. Bye-bye.